Hey, you guys, it's Mary here. And today I wanted to start off with a little bit of a story. And it's not to sort of poke fun or anything like that. It's more of just kind of like a wake up call. Okay, so a little while ago, I had someone reach out to me. A lot of people send me emails, reach out to me personally, DM me on Instagram, all of that, and they send me questions. And I love getting those questions because I like to help people sort of troubleshoot their businesses and figure out what's going on. So I got this really interesting message from this person, and they were like, "Hey, blah, 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 blah. I haven't had a sale in 4 years." And I was like, "What?" That's a really long time to not have a sale. So we started this conversation back and forth, and we started kind of going back and forth. And I was like, okay, so tell me more about this. Tell me more about your business, what's going on. And I was like, what's your social media like? Let me take a look at it. And they were like, oh, yeah, I don't really do social media. And I was like, oh. And so I was like, so how do you promote your your leather goods to your audience? And like, who is your audience? And they were like, well, I have a website and I have, my products up on my website, but I just don't really get any traffic. And I was like, huh, strange. You don't say. Of course, you're not getting traffic if you're not promoting your website and driving the traffic to your website. So, long story short, we talked more and I gave them some tips and kind of gave them the sort of rundown of some basic things that they can tweak into their business and really start to like ramp up. And now it's one thing if you have a business or hobby and you're not really interested in making sales and you don't really get any sales and you're fine with that. That's totally fine. But if you are someone who is actively trying to create a business from your passion, which is doing leather work and making really cool stuff for people, then if you haven't had a sale in 4 years, you need to pump the brakes and we need to do something about that. So that's just one example of one of those like foundational elements that you have to have in your business, which is promotion. People are not just going to stumble across your website, and chances are if they do, they're probably not going to be your ideal customer. It just doesn't really work out that way. It's not really ever going to be that easy. You have to put a lot of your muscle into the marketing. You've heard it before. People say you can have the best product in the world, but if nobody knows about it, it doesn't matter because nobody knows about it. So I want to tell you about some of the other foundational things, some of the other sort of mindset things too, that I changed personally in my own business. And when I changed these things, I saw like a massive shift in my business. But before we get into that, I just want to introduce myself to you. My name is Mary, and I am the host of the Leather Tamers. That's our Facebook group. We also have a YouTube channel at the Leather Beast, and we have the Leather Beast website where I post lots of blog articles on all kinds of important topics, things that people are frequently asking me. That's kind of how I come up with my subject matter. These are questions that you guys are asking me, and so I figure if you have that question, then there's probably a lot of other people that have the same question. So if you ever have a question, feel free to pop it in the comments on any of my posts or shoot me an email, and I'll come up with an answer for you. And I might even make a post about it and do a live stream about it. One other thing is that I have a guide that I just kind of revamped this guide too. Just this past weekend, didn't really have anything else going on. So I went through there and revamped it a little bit. It's called the Leathergoods Business Blueprint. And it's a great guide if you're just starting your business or if you have a business that's sort of stagnant, that maybe is missing some of these key elements, these key foundational things that you need to have running in your business if you want to see sales month after month. With that being said, let's jump into it. I think I have three key areas here for you. So the first is focus on your profits. So, there's never enough. We always want more of it, right? But the fact is that the time that we have to spend on generating and getting more profits is it's all the same. It doesn't matter if you're me or you or Beyonce or Bill Gates. We all have the same time, and you can see there is a very, very wide spectrum there of the results that you can get with a 24-hour day. So what we have to do is we have to use this 24 hours very intentionally and with strategy behind them. So if you're focusing on being more efficient with those hours and really focusing on things that are going to move the needle in your business, especially up front, wait until your business is a little bit more established and you can start to tweak all the little things that, maybe bother you and probably nobody else even sees. Really focus on the big picture, which is doing the things that are going to bring in the revenue and the sales and the profits upfront, because you need that in order to grow your business and to be able to sustain you personally. You need to get paid. If this is going to be your full-time business, you need to have money coming in. You need this business to be generating income as quickly as possible. So instead of messing around, spending hours obsessing over a font or a color choice, these are things that I struggle with daily because I'm always obsessing over these things. But I've shifted, I've tried to shift to really instead focus on the bigger things that are actually going to make a big impact in your business, the things that are going to drive the traffic to your website, things that are going to attract your customer to come over to your website, and the things that are going to really convert your browsers into buyers. That being said, branding is, of course, super important. Those fonts and color choices, yes, that is important. But when you have a limited amount of hours to spend, really focus on the big stuff. Focus on the profits, generating revenue, and bringing in what's most important to you. Number 2, stop comparing yourself with others. Again, we all do it, it's human nature. I do it all the time. I find myself totally like stalking people online, my business idols online, my competition online. And I'm like, they're doing so good and they're doing all these things. Maybe I should do these things. Maybe I need to completely change my whole thing, because if they're doing it and it's working, then it'll probably work for me. But really, you need to instead keep your eyes on your own work. There's no real magic bullet here. Just because somebody else is doing something and they're getting success with it, doesn't mean that was like an overnight success. What we oftentimes forget is that when we see people online doing really great, it's taken them a really long time to get there. They've put in a lot of hard work to get there. It just doesn't really ever happen automatically. Maybe for like 1% of like weird YouTube influencer people that just kind of like go viral, but that's just not really the way it works for the rest of us. So instead of looking at what everybody else is doing, just really put your head down, focus on your work, focus on your path, where you're going. Yeah, be mindful of where your actual competition is, the people who are making the same things as you, that are at the same price point, the same quality, and kind of at your same level. Maybe they've started right around the same time as you. They have the same sort of success, maybe a little bit more success than you. Maybe they're a little bit further ahead of you. Know where they are out of like the corner of your eye. Keep an eye on them, but don't get so into obsessing over what they're doing that you get off your own path. You really need to have your own strategy in your own business, because everybody's business is different, and you need to stay the course and really keep your head down and do the work. That is what is going to bring you the results that you want. Someone once asked, I was in another group and someone was asking, like, they just kind of posted one of those random posts in a group, and they said, if there was one thing that you could tell yourself 5 years ago, what would it be? And for me, I thought about it and I was thinking, Yeah, I think it would be stay the course because I've changed my path so many times and jumped around so many different times and changed things, the different types of things that I was selling. I went from selling clothing to, this thing to that thing. I think I would tell myself, pick your thing and stay the course. It takes a little bit of time. You're already like right when you're about to change your path, you're 3/4 of the way there. Just stay there for a little bit longer, really work it, and you'll get there. And the third thing is to keep your overhead low. Now I know these all seem a little kind of like out of left field, but these are just some of the biggest things that when I changed these in my own business, I really saw the results. I saw the positive outcomes of them, and it was really impactful for my business. So when I first started my business, I only had a couple $100 in the bank. Luckily, I was good at budgeting, and I'm also really good at being cheap. Finally, that came in handy. So instead of being tempted to go out and buy a new camera or buy new, tools and equipment and all this stuff and spend a lot of money on materials that I didn't really need right away, I really kept my initial investment really low. I wanted that $500 to stay in the bank until there was some sort of crazy emergency that then I needed it. It was there. I was like so determined not to spend it. Of course, I spent some of it, but and then even once I started making sales, I still kept my overhead low because I knew that just because I had sold something maybe for $100, well, $30 of that 100 had already been spent on the materials it took to make that, maybe even more than that if you counted my labor as well. So I knew that just because I had money coming in, it wasn't like, woohoo, let's party. I joke about, when I first got started, my boyfriend used to say whenever I'd be like, hey, I made a sale, and he would be like, sweet, let's go get a steak dinner. And I'm like, no, that money's like already spent. We can't just go and eat steak dinners. But now, since I'm more established in my business and I do have regular money coming in and I had kept my overhead for so low, I've been able to grow the business, invest in things that are going to continue to help me grow the business, like hiring a designer to do some of my graphic design stuff that takes me so long to do it, and I'm not usually really that pleased with it. I've been able to hire that out, and yeah, I have to pay for it, but the return that I'm getting from that is it's so worth it. The time that I'm getting back and to have somebody else do it better than I can do, it's a good investment. So things like that, if you start in the beginning by keeping your investment low, you're able to kind of grow. Did my video stop? Oh man. Well, I hope you guys were able to hear that. It looked like my video stopped. Oh well. So if any of these things have ever stopped you in your tracks, if you're currently struggling with any of these things, I'd love to hear from you. Drop your struggles in the comments. And if you want to get more information on how you can avoid this, hi Heidi. So my video did cut out. Shoot. I wonder what part. What was the last thing you heard? While she's responding. If you want to get more information about starting a leather goods business, maybe you want to start one or you have one that's a little stagnant, like that person that I was talking about in the beginning who didn't have a sale for like 4 years. Sorry, what did she say? She said... It was very brief, no worries. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Heidi. Yeah, so you have a stagnant business now, or you're just starting a business. Download this free guide because I think it'll give you some really good things to just kind of keep in mind when you're first starting your business so that you can get the results that you want in the quickest way possible. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. And I'll see you here next week. I'm going to continue to do these lives weekly because I think that they're really helpful from what I've been hearing from you. Next week, we're going to be talking all about myths. We're going to be doing some myth busting. We're going to be talking about the ridiculous, the untrue, and the misconceptions that could be standing in way of you and your dream business. So stay tuned. Hey, Randy, thanks for joining in. I will see you guys next week then. Bye.